Have you ever wondered what truly matters when you reach your later years? When I moved into a nursing home at 81, I thought I knew what to expect. But after a year of living there, I realized that aging is full of surprises, some good, some difficult, and some that completely change the way I see life. In this video, I will share 7 things I learned after a year in a nursing home, lessons that could help you or someone you love navigate aging with wisdom and grace. Some of these insights might confirm what you already suspect, while others might challenge the way you think about getting older. Either way, by the end of this video, you will walk away with a deeper understanding of what it really means to age well, and maybe even see your future in a whole new light. Stay with me until the end because the last lesson is the one that made the biggest impact on me, and it might change the way you approach your own aging journey forever. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you do so now and turn on the bell so you do not miss any of our upcoming videos on aging wisdom and living well. Number 1, loneliness is a choice, not a sentence. As we begin our journey together, let's explore our first lesson. Loneliness is a choice, not a sentence. When I moved into the nursing home at the age of 81, I was convinced that loneliness was inevitable. I had experienced profound losses: a beloved spouse, distant family members, and friends who had either passed away or moved on with life. I thought that these gaps in my heart were permanent. However, over the course of a year, I discovered a remarkable truth. Loneliness isn't forced upon us. It's something we can choose to overcome. I remember meeting Margaret, a gentle soul with no family in the area. Despite her solitude, she radiated joy every day. One morning, as we sat together in the dining hall, she leaned in and said with a twinkle in her eye, "I knock on doors, I join tables, and I never wait for happiness to come to me, I go find it." Her words sparked a light inside me. I decided to change my approach. Instead of staying cooped up in my room, I began greeting everyone I passed in the hallway, joining group activities even if they were new and a bit challenging, and sharing my stories with others. The transformation was profound. I realized that I was not condemned to loneliness just because circumstances had changed. In fact, by reaching out, I built meaningful connections that enriched my life. Statistics tell us that regular social interaction can reduce the risk of depression by as much as 40% in older adults, and I experienced that firsthand. It became clear that the secret to a joyful life lies in our willingness to connect with others. Think back to a time when you reached out to someone, even if it felt daunting at first. What did you learn from that experience, and how did it change your perspective on loneliness? Number 2, independence fades faster if you let it. Our next lesson is one that touches on the very essence of our identity: independence. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I observed a pattern that was both sad and eye-opening. I watched residents, once proud and capable, slowly give up on the little things they had always done for themselves. One man in particular, Richard, had been a strong, self-reliant person throughout his life, but here, day by day, he began to rely on others for even the simplest tasks: a cup of coffee, buttoning his shirt, or opening a door. At first, it seemed harmless. After all, why struggle when help is available? But soon I noticed that his confidence and physical strength were diminishing. This experience taught me a valuable truth: independence fades faster if you let it. I made a personal commitment to do as much as I could for myself. If I was able to stand and walk, I would take the stairs instead of the elevator. I dressed myself each morning, even if it took a bit longer, and I made a point to do small tasks that reminded me of my capabilities. Research shows that maintaining physical activity, even in small ways, can boost mobility and mental sharpness in older adults, improving overall quality of life. I recall a bright morning when I chose to set the table on my own, despite my aching joints. That small act of independence filled me with pride and a renewed sense of self-worth. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was about holding on to the essence of who I am. It was about showing that, even in the later chapters of life, we can continue to write our own stories with strength and dignity. If you're still here, thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If today's message touched something true in your life, just comment number 2 so I know you're here. And if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. This channel is a gentle space where experience matters, kindness is shared, and growing older means something. I'm truly grateful you're here. Number 3. Health declines when routine disappears. Another essential truth I discovered is that our health and vitality decline when routine disappears. When I first arrived here, I observed 2 very different patterns among the residents. Some, like George, a retired teacher in his late 80s, wore a daily routine like a well-fitted suit. George would wake up at the same time every morning, carefully shave, dress, and then take a brisk walk before breakfast. His day was filled with scheduled times for reading, socializing, and even gentle exercise. This routine kept him sharp, alert, and engaged with life. Contrast this with others who let their days drift by with little structure. They would sleep in, skip meals, or simply pass time in their rooms. The difference in their mental and physical health was evident. Studies indicate that older adults who maintain a structured daily routine tend to have better cognitive function and overall well-being. It reminded me that our minds and bodies thrive on consistency and purpose. Inspired by George's example, I made it a point to structure my day, no matter how small the tasks might seem. I set aside time for a morning shower, a leisurely breakfast, a short walk, and even moments for quiet reflection. I discovered that having a routine not only kept me active, but also provided a comforting sense of stability in a world that can often feel uncertain. Implementing this routine has been one of my most cherished life lessons from the elderly. It's a gentle reminder that a little structure can lead to a lot of health benefits and joy in the later years. What is one daily habit or routine from your past that brought you comfort and stability? How might you incorporate a similar routine into your life now? Number 4. Your attitude shapes your experience. It's often said that our attitude shapes our experience, and now I want to share how profoundly true that is. When I first moved into the nursing home, I assumed that the happiest residents would be those in the best physical condition, those who could still walk easily and had frequent visitors. Yet, I soon discovered that happiness wasn't tied solely to physical ability. I met many healthy individuals who were burdened by bitterness and regret because they constantly dwelled on what they had lost. One particularly inspiring example was a lady named Eleanor. At 86, despite suffering from severe arthritis that made every movement a challenge, Eleanor greeted each day with an infectious smile. She would always ask about others, offer a kind word, and share her unique perspective on life. Happiness is not about what happens to you, she would say softly. It's about how you decide to see it. Her words were a beacon of hope for me, urging me to focus on the positive rather than the limitations. In my conversations with other residents, I found that those who chose to concentrate on what they still had, rather than what they had lost, were the ones who truly thrived. They approached life with gratitude and a deep sense of resilience. Scientific studies have shown that a positive outlook can not only improve mental health but also boost physical health, reducing stress and enhancing longevity. This lesson is among the most profound life lessons from the elderly that I've ever learned. It taught me that our perspective can transform our experiences and that joy is often found in the simplest of outlooks. If you're still here, thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If today's message touched something true in your life, just comment number 4 so I know you're here. And if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. This channel is a gentle space where experience matters, kindness is shared, and growing older means something. I'm truly grateful you're here. Number 5, family visits are unpredictable, but friendships sustain you. In our journey through later life, family visits can be unpredictable. While family is a treasure, I learned that friendships play an equally vital role in sustaining our spirits. When I first moved into the nursing home, I eagerly anticipated family visits. My children, grandchildren, and close relatives filled my heart with love and memories, but as time went by, the frequency of these visits decreased. Life's demands, busy schedules, and the challenges of distance took their toll. I began to notice that residents who relied solely on family visits often felt a lingering sense of loneliness. On the other hand, those who took the initiative to build friendships within the nursing home discovered a source of daily joy and support. One such friend was Albert, a kind soul whose son lived 2 hours away and could visit only once every few months. Despite this, Albert's days were brightened by the companionship of his fellow residents. Every morning, he joined a small group for coffee, played cards in the afternoon, and always had someone with whom to share a laugh. Albert once told me, "I stopped counting the visits and started counting the people who are here every day." This simple statement resonated deeply with me. I learned that while our families are irreplaceable, the connections we form with those around us can offer comfort, laughter, and a sense of belonging. In fact, research suggests that robust social networks can improve mental health and even extend life expectancy. It's a reminder that in our golden years, building and nurturing friendships is a vital part of living a fulfilling life. These experiences are another set of treasured life lessons from the elderly, highlighting the beauty of community and the strength that comes from shared moments. Think about a time when a friend made a significant impact on your day. How did that connection uplift you, and what small steps can you take today to strengthen the bonds you share with those around you? Number 6, the past becomes more vivid, but the present still matters. One of the strangest things about getting older is how the past starts to feel more real than the present. I can remember details from my childhood with absolute clarity. The way my mother's kitchen smelled, the songs that played on the radio, the sound of my best friend's laughter when we were kids. Yet ask me what I had for lunch yesterday and I might have to think for a moment. I have noticed this in others too. Conversations in the nursing home often drift toward the past. Stories of old jobs, young love, and the way things used to be. I understand why. The past is familiar and comforting. It is a place where we were strong, where we were needed, where life felt bigger. However, there is a danger in spending too much time looking backward. It can make us forget that we are still here. I once met a man named Frank who was 89 and he could tell stories about his younger days in stunning detail, but that was all he talked about. He never joined activities or asked anyone about their lives. It was as if he had decided his life was already over, even though he was still very much alive. Then there was Helen, 84, who also loved reminiscing about her past but never let it stop her from living in the now. She was always curious and always trying new things. I remember her saying, "I have more yesterdays than tomorrows, but that doesn't mean today doesn't count." That stuck with me. Nostalgia is a gift. It reminds us of where we came from, the lives we built, and the moments that shaped us. But it should never come at the cost of the present. We still have conversations to enjoy, meals to savor, people to connect with, and moments to be part of life. No matter how many years we have behind us, the time we have now still matters. If you're still here, thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If today's message touched something true in your life, just comment number 6 so I know you're here. And if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. This channel is a gentle space where experience matters, kindness is shared, and growing older means something. I'm truly grateful you're here. Number 7, small pleasures make a big difference. As you get older, your world starts to shrink. The grand adventures, the big milestones, the career achievements, all those things that once defined your life become part of the past. What you are left with are the everyday moments, the simple routines, the small things that fill your time. After a year in the nursing home, I learned that those small things matter more than you think. I have seen people find pure joy in the simplest pleasures. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, a favorite song playing in the background, the feeling of sunshine on their skin while sitting by a window. I know a man named Harold, 82 years old, who lights up every time he gets his favorite butterscotch candy. He keeps a little stash in his drawer and always offers one to whoever stops by. It is a small thing, barely worth mentioning to most people, but to him it is a ritual that brings comfort, connection, and a little bit of happiness. I have learned to cherish these moments myself. There is something special about the first sip of hot tea in the morning, the sound of birds outside my window, and the familiar voices of friends greeting me in the hallway. When life slows down, these tiny moments become the highlights of the day. Those who embrace them, who take time to appreciate the small joys, are the ones who remain the most content. On the other hand, I have seen people focus only on what they no longer have, the trips they can no longer take, the foods they can no longer eat, the things they can no longer do. The more they focus on what is missing, the less they see what is still there. That is when bitterness creeps in, when days feel empty and nothing seems to bring joy anymore. The truth is, happiness does not always come from the big things. Sometimes it is just a good meal, a kind conversation, or a quiet moment of peace. So take a deep breath. Notice something small around you right now. A sound, a smell, a taste, or a feeling that brings even the slightest bit of joy. Hold on to it, because in the end, it is not the big events that make life meaningful, but the small pleasures that make each day worth living. Final thoughts. After spending a year in a nursing home, I've come to see that aging isn't simply about getting older. It's about how we choose to live our remaining years. I learned that while our independence might fade if we let it, staying active and engaged helps us hold on to more of ourselves than we ever imagined. I've also discovered that loneliness isn't something we must accept. It's a choice we can overcome by reaching out and forming new connections. Every conversation and shared smile reminds me that we're never truly alone. Having a daily routine isn't just about keeping busy. It's the very foundation that helps keep both our bodies and minds strong. And remember, attitude matters. The happiest among us aren't always those in perfect health, but those who choose to focus on what remains instead of what has been lost. While family visits may not always be as frequent as we'd like, the friendships we forge can fill those gaps with warmth and steady companionship. Our past will always be a part of who we are, but if we spend too much time looking back, we might miss the beauty of the present. Often it's the little things, a hot cup of coffee in the morning, the sound of laughter, or the gentle sunlight streaming through a window that bring the deepest joy. If there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's this: life does not end when circumstances change. There is always room for connection, for growth, and for happiness, if we are willing to embrace it. Thank you for joining me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share one thing you've learned and how you plan to use it in your life. Your experiences and reflections inspire me, and reading your comments brings me great comfort. If you enjoyed this message and found it helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with friends. Your support means the world to me and helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Remember, as the old saying goes, you are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream.